Flames spawn after a phase is done. The amount will show how fast the phase was by either dealing damage or lighting lantern. They spawn in pairs, so 2 at a time. The minimum of 0 is slow, while the maximum of 8 is fast. Group scaling will increase the damage required and people in range of the lantern to fully light up. The total flames at the end increases chances of, or can even guarantee Umi or fishing. 0 flame runs will guarantee Umi without gear requirements. Fishing chances will also increase with Kitsune Umi chances, but Umi overrides fishing, so easy mode high flames are a way to guarantee fishing. Flame counts are separated into tiers. Something noteworthy is petless bags are not affected by flames. This is a bit detail heavy, feel free to pause and read the numbers. For tier 3 on the left, it's only one 8 flame lantern that's needed. Petless mode is not recommended. The bag itself doesn't drop any night prints pages and isn't affected by the drop chance increase. If you want pages, faster and cleaner runs, you should run a pet. The next few following bits might be review for some people. During lanterns, the healing buff will tell us we're in range. When a lantern is moving, its hitbox will be slightly ahead of the visual lantern. Pause if you want to see the comparison. In damage phases, there is a lot of details. Secondary patterns and backup dancer variations will either not be noticed or ruin your day. Umi can't have backup dancers. The variations will never happen more than once. The backup dancers will use the debuffs from their lanterns. Adding any optimization could be the difference between tiers. For any damage phase, start bottom left and close to the boss. This position is for both consistency and damage. Groups drag chase phases clockwise. This is also for consistency. Groups should always stay close together. With how the targeting works, even one single person can mess up the drag. A bad drag will slow damage down and can even become dangerous. In solo, you have a lot more freedom, just try to stick to good habits. Certain items rely off being close. There are many chances to use these. You can also use item swaps before phases for extra damage. We will go much more in depth on items later. Those being said, consistency matters the most. Swapping items poorly will be a damage loss. Certain debuffs will affect our damage output. In combat will just happen, but can be considered. Silence could lead to massive damage losses. Use an ability before getting hit. Being sick just isn't good. Quiet and pet stasis are less worrying. Space out ability usage and avoid extra swaps. The 3 dancers have 11 total phases and Umi has 7. Other than finale, phases alternate with no repeats. Finale lanterns have all of the debuffs. Umi's lantern will include stun. MIKO's lantern debuff is second. Phase names on the left will be gone in order top to bottom. Secondary patterns start off with something that isn't actually a secondary pattern. These green shots block corners during damage phases. It is important to note that only MIKO has these. I made rough recreations to isolate the patterns from phases. These won't all be accurate, especially this first one. Pattern 1 isn't much of an issue. Pattern 2 will sicken, which sometimes creates bad situations. Pattern 3 is probably the most problematic. The velocity changes are hard to read, and any phase where the boss sits still in the middle can be tough for sword users. Pattern 4, the rotation and slow debuff should not be much of a worry. Pattern 5 is very awkward to read. This is also a time where not all of the shots will do the same thing. So here it will curse or bleed. Wondrous Blossom. Groups should stay grouped. Solo players can freely rotate the purple shots. The pink shots from middle will be very inconsistent, so you might need to tank some. Falling Petals is a chase phase. As a reminder, groups should drag bottom left and then clockwise. Some shots won't exactly spawn on top of boss, they'll spawn around it. This will make being too close a bit dangerous. Youthful Spring. It'll take about 3 seconds for the boss to shoot at the start. This is a good moment to make sure your pet is hitting boss. Nature's Cycle. Same as before with the 3 seconds. Get ahead of boss quick. Never touch the walls. They will hurt a lot. Ouch. Floral Burst. After the first shot, we have 3 seconds to swap items. This is probably the easiest swap timing in the dungeon. Just back up a little bit after the next indicator comes out. One indicator will be an inside rotation. 2 indicators is an outside rotation. Old walls will despawn for new ones, and around 70% walls will stop spawning. You can use that moment to swap items for more damage. Blooms. Most lanterns will spawn from the middle. Before a lantern, stand near the middle. You will be in range of any priest, and light the lantern very early. For blooms specifically, we run directly through the middle, and then get ahead of the lantern. Since this is our first moving lantern, as a reminder, the hitbox will be pushed ahead of the lantern. The most important note to know is that the flower shots stop before hitting lantern. If you are new, try to pay attention where I position myself. Vestiges. Dodge away from the boss and then back to lantern. Purple shots from the boss are the most dangerous. The other shots only come from the top. Beauty. If you're already comfortable with this phase, you can rush to Lantern right away and tank some shots doing so. This is the only MIKO Lantern that has immediate shots, so if it's the first Lantern from MIKO, you can stand extra close for the next one. MIKO Finale. Try to tap more instead of big inputs. Anything that is not pink will hurt the most, and ignore the walls. Every finale will add or change patterns every 25%. The walls will do 1 damage and bleed. It will spawn clockwise, 1 corner at a time. Since the lantern removes bleed, unless you are 1 HP, you can freely tank the walls. Genji's phases will be gone in order, top to bottom. And our lantern debuff is silence. Pattern 1 isn't very deadly, but will weaken, so it is bad for flames. Pattern 2 is a similar story to pattern 1. Easy pattern, but it will silence, so it's bad for flames. Pattern 3 might be confused with 2. The expose is not a worry, but being in the middle is. Pattern 4 only spawns from the top. Being slowed and exposed could be bad in some scenarios. Pattern 5 will spawn on middle edges in the arena without warning. The 2 phases listed are where it could be most problematic. Surging Rapids. The walls and boss shots will hurt the most, and silence. Silence will be a big deal throughout all Genji phases. This is a very difficult phase for flames. There are a lot of things to keep in mind. One of which is to tank walls. In this example, I show a few reasons why. The key points to take away are ability usage and safety. Foaming pools. Use the middle to follow boss. You may tank around 100 damage doing so. The bubble walls can be crossed. Consider doing so on sword classes. The boss isn't actually shooting, add weapon swaps if comfortable. Crashing waves. Walls spawn on the opposite side of boss with inconsistent gaps. Tanking walls is likely needed for good uptime, being slowed could cause problems. On the left or right we can freely swap. The boss will be inside of the arena. For the top and bottom, the boss will be outside. Not all swaps will work. Converging Tides. A chase phase where the boss does not shoot. In solo, you have full control and could even stand still at times. In groups, try to stay together around the bottom. Bursting Fountain. Similar to Converging Tides, but the flashing bubbles from boss shoot. In solo we have full control, you can even stand still in the right scenario. Groups should stay together and rotate clockwise, like usual. Unyielding. Start near the middle like usual. This is a rotating lantern, so stay ahead. If you ever fall behind, the boss can get really dangerous. Downpour. The lantern won't move, and sometimes you may want to tank a wall to stay on lantern longer. Torrents. Getting to lantern early may require a fast reaction. It is a moving lantern, so stay ahead. The shots from the red dots will always form an opening in the path of the lantern. This is a difficult phase with a lot of moving pieces. A strong pet will help. Genji Finale. Lantern spawns slightly below boss. The lantern will swap directions around 2 tiles before the edges. We are moving, so stay ahead. At 25%, the boss shoots, and 50% we get more boss shots. Ignore any rain or bubbles, they hurt the least. Shots will only spawn from the left or the top. Just like the others, KAGUYA's phases will be gone in order top to bottom. The lantern debuff is Pet Stasis. For pattern 1, the red circle is not good. These shots will always go out in each cardinal direction. Pattern 2, once again, red circle is bad. The white drum-looking shots will armor break, while the yellow lightnings will pet stasis. Pattern 3, indicators will be followed by lines going towards the middle. Pattern 4, the big shot will paralyze, the smaller shots will have no debuff, they just hurt. Pattern 5, the red dot will stun. This is probably the least dangerous pattern, but it is the worst for flames. Sonic Projection. Rotate with the boss. Rotating isn't exactly safe. Backup dancers and secondary patterns can affect its difficulty. Move in and out to stay ahead of the boss. This can be skipped at certain times, especially if the middle looks bad. Lightning Rod. If you are quick, we can get in a short item swap. Rotate with the shots if you can find the timing for it. Unfaltering drums. Closer ranged characters should push in. It is not the end of the world if you tank a boss shot. Everyone else should stay at the bottom. Don't back up into the rotating drums. Static Circuit. There's not a lot to say this phase. This first clip shows the EP positioning. Thunderdome. Play within your weapon range while watching gaps. Being around the middle is better. In most cases, buffs will usually hit the middle. Without armor break, it is an okay idea to consider tanking some converging shots. Rhythm. Start lanterns near the boss as usual. It is a moving lantern, so stay ahead. Try to maximize how close you are to the lantern within your grid. Keep in mind the lantern's full light range. Chorus. Once again, stand near the boss to start. It is a moving lantern, so stay ahead. This phase is a lot of quick decisions, deciding what to tank and what to avoid. Skyfalls. Spawning above the boss this time, the lantern will move in a similar way to GENJI Finale. It will swap directions 2 tiles before the edges. The walls can be tanked one at a time for an easier time on lantern. Some setups may struggle with tanking these often. KAGUYA Finale. Start on top of the boss and follow lantern early. The boss or drums won't shoot for a while. Circles and arrows will tell you where the grids are spawning. The drums will only shoot when the boss is near them. If a drum is about to activate near you, try to make distance. It is important to note that the wheels only do 30 damage. This is the lowest shot. Try to ignore them. Just like everyone else, Umi's phases are gone in order top to bottom. On the right are answers to the questions. Our lanterns will act similar to the 3 dancer finales with every debuff. Umi's finale specifically will include stun. Pattern 1. Indicators from the corners that just deal damage. This is by far the least dangerous pattern. Pattern 2 could be considered a more dangerous version of Pattern 1. Pattern 3 will explode just outside of the arena, unlike the next two patterns. Pattern 4, the shots will hurt quite a bit and explode in the arena on the top and bottom. Pattern 5, the trails and flames have 2 dangerous debuffs, and flash then explode in the arena at the top and bottom. Playful Chase. This is the most important chase phase. Groups start bottom left, stay together, and rotate clockwise. Secondary patterns can entirely decide how well the phase will go. For the patterns 4 and 5, we need to avoid the top and bottom. Playing closer to the middle is a consistent but difficult way to do this. In groups, when you skip the top and bottom, it is a very easy way to lose the drag. Light Show. Rotate right in front of the boss. The shots from middle silence and curse, but have a consistent pattern. Tanking a secondary pattern shot over these is usually a better idea. The boss will stop shooting around 70%, we can item swap there. Spirited Away. Go into the middle and follow boss. Longer range classes can skip this step, but may lose some damage doing so, like your pet. Assume you will have pet stasis for long periods and tank the occasional burst of damage. The boss won't actually hit the center, and many players like to zoom in just a bit more for this phase. Firework Display. Stand close in between the star shots. The example shown is extra close, we could even use some weapon swaps. Keep in mind secondary patterns like 4 and 5 that explode. The flames start exploding after around 2.5 seconds. This is another good reason to stay close. Right players. The boss is targeting and chasing with delayed jumps. In groups, play near the middle, tracking the boss best you can. Getting comfortable with jumps is very important. The boss will jump towards the big indicator, and will only shoot at the start of a jump. We want to keep the boss in open space, return to the middle while staying in range, and slowly back up to keep control. Rage. Just before we actually get into it, the flames won't hurt until they stop and the boss pattern will shift. So these flame shots are safe, and then when they change, they hurt. At the start, the boss instantly shoots. The boss will rotate lantern with periodic stops. Each stop creates a new set of flames and the boss shots will shift. This phase will have a lot on screen. Focus on the boss shots and the lantern. Stay on the more open side of these boss shots. Cross the boss shots when they cross the lantern. Procession. Lantern will always go up at the start. This is a moving lantern, stay ahead. A direction swap happens about 1 tile before the edge. There are 7 lanes the shots travel. The boss will only shoot on the outermost side lanes, with a fairly consistent pattern. The falling shots can be quite random. Try to read ahead. Some players even zoom out. Remembrance. It is a moving lantern, stay ahead, and with good reason. Falling behind is dangerous, there's a fireball chasing the lantern. The entire phase is 3 consistent patterns that weave together. The only thing that will make the phase feel different is where the lantern is placed. Umi Finale. We are stunned along with the other debuffs, so no on-shoot effects. It is a moving lantern, stay ahead like usual. The shot rotation is going to swap early on. Shot density will be like MIKO Finale, tap to move. The explosions at 25% are what will catch most off guard when rotating. Explosions alternate between the top and bottom, then the left and right. Prepare for explosions either by moving ahead or staying back. Small details could be the difference between tiers. These next few sections give a bit more depth on some of those details. Keep in mind that the game can update, and I won't exactly be focusing on enchantments or exalts. These are the main buffs and debuffs we want to look for. Expose should be more considered for group content. In groups, try to dedicate a person on each buff or debuff, and consider running a priest. The target dummy test is a way to tell if your setup can solo 8 flames. The numbers shown won't apply to groups at all. Use items within reason. Some items won't always be usable, or if the boss moves, we lose damage. Swap outs could be a ring or armor piece as well, and some classes may be reliant off certain items. Consider rebinding inventory slots for more comfortable binds. I recommend at least changing 5 through 8. Because of stat modifiers, Rogue has a lot of setup variety. Go watch Modal's guide for more info. Or any leather rare class, consider running Hoppy in solo runs. For bow classes, we want Mikako Yumi. It is important to note that Bard will swap between taiko drums and noble mandolin. I'm not going to go over every class. We could be here for a while if I went over all of them. The TLDR is get a curse or buff item and use the target dummy test to test your setup.